Hello, I thought this morning it'd be rather interesting to look at words that Boris himself has used. So in the past he wrote a book called Have I Got Views for You, which clearly was a spin-off of the television programme that made him famous in the first place and arguably propelled him into number 10. Now he talks about a thing called the dying and rising God, or the dying and rising king, which is well documented in ancient Greece and indeed in ancient Israelite texts. It doesn't always refer to a reality. Sometimes it's sort of ritual process. And anyway, he says how we make kings for our societies, how after a while we kill them and achieve a kind of rebirth. Quite right. Some of the kings are innocent. Some of them took away the sins of the world. Some of them are less innocent. It really doesn't matter. They all must die. Now, in the novel that he wrote, the rather scurrilous novel called 72 Virgins, he talks about a thing called the Thanatos urge. I don't believe the Thanatos urge exists, but it's a kind of drive towards disaster. And maybe he is in the middle of that. Boris thinks that we live life on a sort of arc, on a narrative arc. He says human beings are creatives of the imagination. People live by narrative. Well, people die by event, and I'm afraid the events are mounting up strongly towards a disaster for Boris. Now, he's got two counterattacks. He's got two initiatives. He's got a thing called the red meat and the big dog. And we've seen the first of the red meat initiatives with Nadine Dorries to freeze the BBC licence. She says the days of the elderly being threatened with prison sentences and bailiffs and bailiffs knocking on doors are over. She's quite right, but this isn't an initiative from today. This is something that was a decision made some time ago. The idea that the BBC licence has the right to knock on the licensed people have the right to knock on your door and threaten you with all manner of horrors. This went away about a year ago. So she's a bit late in claiming this as an initiative. What she's done is to freeze, or to say that she's going to freeze the licence and that this will be the last licence that will be approved. So the BBC have got about 10 years to think of something else. Well, they're already thinking of something else. They've already got another version of the BBC which sells stuff and which we buy into. So the BBC is already making money as an independent operator in media. In terms of Black Dog, the plan is to blame the staff. So to blame people like Stuart Glassborough, Martin Reynolds, we know of, that man who's sort of loping behind the Prime Minister in the photographs, Dan Rosenfeld, who's his chief of staff. I think we could expect to see all of these resigning in the next week. But taken as a whole, is this the right approach? Is Boris indeed a dying and rising God? Is he a character out of Fraser's Golden Bough? No, not really. Is he a character taken from ancient Egypt or from the Palestine of Jesus? Really, no. He's not a messianic character. I think Boris has got airs and graces if he thinks any of this is true. Now, the idea of this, really, there's a very interesting character. So when the Greeks are talking about this, they talk about the apotheon, the passion, and there are plenty of passions, a lot of them written at the beginning of the New Testament. But one of the earliest is about 1700 BC, so really quite some time ago. And it tells the story of Inanna. And she died and was resurrected. She actually died on a sort of cross, but in the sky. She had a cosmic battle with evil. It's very much a sort of spin-off of Zoroastrianism. And I find this a very interesting story, and it was still being talked about in the city of Tyre at the time of Jesus. So it was still going strong in the Roman Empire as Christianity emerged. But I do find that a very interesting idea. But is Boris bound for his own crucifixion, and is he going to rise again? I think the second part, no. The first part, well, not really. I mean, he's not really got any great enemies. Shakespeare's got a much better term from hoist with his own petard. He brought it all on himself.